The first thing Kaela Thorn saw after the alien shuttle lifted away was her own bootprint filling with black rain. Then the mud moved. Something beneath the surface dragged the print open like a mouth, and the trees around her began clicking in sequence, one by one, counting down the distance between her and whatever had smelled her blood. Kaela raised her cracked visor and whispered, "Bad place to leave a human." By nightfall, the planet was hunting her. The Korrath had called it Vel-Tar Nine, the deadliest world in their charts. No prison walls, no guards, no need. Every living thing here ate heat, sound, or fear. They had abandoned Kaela with a broken wrist, one flare, and a translator collar still locked around her throat. The collar blinked red. Execution exile complete. Kaela laughed once, dry and sharp, then bit it back when the trees clicked faster. The first predator came from above. It looked like a folded kite made of bone and wet glass. It dropped silently, aiming for her neck. Kaela threw herself sideways, jammed the flare into the mud, and sparked it. White fire exploded. The creature screamed, but not from pain, from confusion. Its wings curled away from the sudden heat. Kaela saw the clue before she understood it. Everything in the clearing turned toward the flare, hungry and afraid at the same time. The flare died after 12 seconds. The forest went dark again. Far above, the Korrath prison shuttle hovered in orbit, recording her death for tribunal proof. Commander Threx watched the feed with all four eyes narrowed. "No species survives Vel-Tar after sunset," his officer said. Threx clicked his mandibles. "She will run, then the planet will finish her." But Kaela did not run. She listened. The trees clicked from left to right. The mud breathed in small bubbles. Insects stopped buzzing whenever she held her breath. Vel-Tar was not random. It was reacting. Kaela had been a search and rescue tracker on 3 Deathworld colonies before the war. Her flaw had always been the same. She trusted patterns more than people. That was why the Korrath had caught her. That was why she was alone now. The rain thickened, warm and oily. It soaked through her torn sleeve and made her skin sting. Kaela wrapped the sleeve with strips from her undershirt, then smeared mud over the blood. The clicking slowed. She smiled. "Not blood," she whispered. "Salt." A vine snapped around her ankle. Kaela hit the ground hard. The mud opened under her face, full of tiny white teeth. She drove her broken wrist into the vine and screamed as pain flashed bright behind her eyes. The vine loosened, not from mercy, from the sound. Kaela froze. The trees clicked back her scream in smaller pieces. The forest copied distress. No, it hunted it. She stopped fighting, pressed her forehead into the mud, and breathed slowly through her teeth. The vine tightened again, confused. Then something massive roared beyond the ridge. The vine let go and fled underground. Kaela crawled uphill toward a line of black stone spires. Behind her, the mud mouths opened, closed, tasting where she had been. Her collar chirped. Korrath observation confirms subject alive. Kaela looked up at the tiny red light. "Tell your commander he picked the wrong planet." Oh. The collar shocked her. She fell to one knee, shaking. In orbit, Threx leaned closer. "Why is she moving toward the spires?" he asked. No one answered. The spires were not stone. Kaela realized it when one shifted under her hand. Bones. Thousands of them fused by rain and pressure into a ridge. Not prey bones, predator bones. This was where the deadliest things came to die. The roar sounded again. A shadow rose between the trees, taller than a transport walker. It had no eyes, only heat vents along its skull, pulsing orange in the rain. Kaela's body gave off heat. The creature turned straight toward her. Her first plan failed in 3 seconds. She threw her last emergency beacon into the trees. It blinked, warmed, and beeped. The creature ignored it. It wanted living heat. Kaela backed into the bone field and stepped on something hollow. A skull, wide, burned smooth inside. Heat vents. She looked from the skull to the monster, then to the black rain filling every hollow bone. Midnight was coming and the rain was getting colder. That was the real clock. The planet did not kill at sunset. It fed at midnight when every warm body became a lantern. Kaela pulled off her thermal lining and stuffed it inside the skull. Her hands shook. Her broken wrist screamed. She used her teeth to pull the fabric tight, then dragged the skull toward a steaming crack in the ground. The creature charged. Kaela kicked the skull into the steam. The wet lining warmed fast. The creature swerved and smashed into it. For one perfect second, Kaela thought she had won. Then the skull burst. The creature recoiled, enraged, and the whole bone field began clicking. Not trees this time. Bones. Kaela understood too late. This was not a graveyard. It was a nest. The ground split open beneath the spires, and dozens of smaller heat hunters unfolded from the bones. In orbit, the Korrath officer stepped back from the screen. "Commander, she has awakened a brood." Threx's mandibles opened slowly. "No exile has done that." Kaela ran, not away from the brood, toward the mud flats, the same mud that had tried to eat her bootprint. Her lungs burned, her wrist hung useless. The collar shocked her again and again, punishing distance from the approved death zone. She grabbed it with her good hand and shoved the exposed wire into the rain. The collar sparked, screamed, and began broadcasting wide. Threx's voice burst through it. "Human, stop moving, you are already dead." Kaela staggered into the black mud and looked back at the glowing pack racing after her. "No," she said, "I'm bait." Then she slammed the collar into the mud. The translator emitted a Korrath distress frequency, loud and constant. The mud opened everywhere. The brood hit the flats at full speed and vanished. One by one, the planet swallowed its own deadliest predators, drawn by sound, heat, salt, and the alien signals screaming from the collar. The giant heat hunter stopped at the edge. Kaela stood waist-deep in mud, trembling, barely breathing. The creature lowered its skull. It heard her heartbeat. Kaela pressed both hands into the mud and forced herself under. Cold filled her ears. Teeth brushed her boots. The mud tasted of metal and rot. Above her, the heat hunter stepped closer. Then the Korrath shuttle descended through the storm. Threx had come low to retrieve proof. Its engines poured heat across the flats. The giant turned away from Kaela. Slowly, beautifully, every mudmouth opened beneath the shuttle. The last thing Threx saw was the abandoned human rising from the black rain as Vel-Tar Nine dragged his ship down. By dawn, Kaela sat on the bone ridge with the broken collar in her lap. The prison beacon still blinked red. Execution exile complete. She turned it over, scratched one word into the casing with a shard of bone, and left it standing in the mud for the next Korrath ship to find.